leader and founding father of PCA of USA. This special tribute is given to him, and I just want to make it very clear that this is not the time to express our grief or sorrow, but it's rather a time to celebrate his legacy, celebrate the accomplishment that he had, celebrate the contribution that he gave to our Samaj. So we put together a short segment in the middle of these performances to honor him. Many of you know him very well, but for those of you who came to New Jersey in the last decade or so may not know him. So I'm going to tell you very briefly as to who Rajnikant Bhai was. Somewhere in the middle of mid-80s, 85, 86, I've been in America since 85, but somewhere in 85, 86, Rajnikant Bhai and many other friends got together in the Parsippany area and decided that we need a platform. We're getting more and more families here, and we want to retain our identity. We want to be culturally active in our community. At the same token, be active in our community at large. So he coined the idea of forming a Samaj. And you can imagine from that time, today is the 23rd Diwali celebration. We have come a long way, thanks to the vision and dedication of many more members to come afterwards, but specifically Rajnikant Bhai. I know in the beginning when we used to have Diwali party, I can still hear his voice. We have come a long way that we are sitting quietly here, but back then we were just a bunch of loose guys making a lot of noise. So Bada Santi Rakho was his motto. This is how I came to know. First Diwali parties that I attended to him, I said, what's going on here? Is this, is this a mela or something or what? But he was trying to calm everybody down. And he's the same guy who came down from the stage and said, Chalo Badai, let's start getting together for the dinner. And he would be setting up the dinner and everybody would be joining him. So I could see a passion. I could see that this is a guy who wants to unite us. This is a guy who wants to put together everybody. And I think I personally felt inspired by it. If he can do it, someday I can do it. And I can tell you that I've been doing this for Samaj because of his vision and because of his ideas about doing the Samaj. So that sums up as to who he was. He really believed, he's a get-go guy. He never had anything gray. It's black or white. You ask Rajnikant Bhai, should we do this? And if he feels this needs to be done, he says, yes, let's go ahead and do it. There's nothing in between. Apna Gujarati ma kehna akha bola. Rajnikant Bhai was a classic example of who speaks his heart and say, this is right and this is wrong. When he could come, he'll be the first person to come. And if he couldn't come, he's the first one to say, hu nathi awano. So I like that kind of straight talks, go get things done. And I think it inspires all of us to do the same. Everybody says, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. So the first person I'm going to invite you is going to talk about friendship. And what a friendship can it be? And that person is Mr. Narendra Godani. Please, Narendra Bhai, come on the stage. He's going to shed a light about Rajnikant Bhai, who as a friend and a colleague he was. Please come on board. Before Narendra Bhai starts his speech, I would also like to say that Narendra Bhai is the only person that's active in the PCA right now who was there when it started and is there. Yes, let's give him a big round of applause. He is also, I can say this, what a friend is all about. I think Jay told us that when Jay checked Rajnikant Bhai's cell phone number, last person he talked to was Narendra Bhai. And I think the last weekend he spent as a friend together was Narendra Bhai. So I'm sure he'll shed some light about friendship that Rajnikant Bhai and every one of us know him as. Please.
भाइयों बहनों तथा वडीलों नमस्ते नूतन वर्षाभिनंदन. Since the beginning of PCA, I worked with Rajnikant. It was very nice to work with him. જો મારે ફક્ત એક જ વાક્યમાં રજનીકાંત વિશે કંઈ કહેવું હોય તો કહી શકું કે દરેક રજનીકાંતના મિત્ર. He was a friend to everyone. He was a founder of PCA. He worked hard for PCA. આ બધું તો આપણે જાણીએ છીએ. પરંતુ રજનીકાંત આપણી વચ્ચે જેટલા ફેમસ હતા તેના કરતાં પણ વધારે ફેમસ એ એની કંપની ફોસ્ટર વ્હીલરમાં હતા. 1978થી ફોસ્ટર વ્હીલરમાં સિવિલ એન્જિનિયર તરીકે તે કામ કરતા હતા. મોટાભાગના આ વર્ષો દરમિયાન એ ત્યાં શોપ સ્ટુઅર્ડ હતા. શોપ સ્ટુઅર્ડ ઇઝ અ વેરી પ્રેસ્ટિજિયસ પોઝિશન વિધિન ફોસ્ટર વ્હીલર. આના ઇલેક્શનમાં રજનીકાંત ખૂબ જ મોટા માર્જિનથી અથવા બિનહરીફ અનઓપોઝ ચૂંટાતા. PCA સિવાય રજનીકાંત બીજા ઘણા સામાજિક પ્રસંગોમાં પણ સેવા આપતા. કોઈના લગ્ન પ્રસંગનું પ્લાનિંગ કરવું હોય કે પછી કોઈના ફ્યુનરલમાં વ્યવસ્થા જાળવવી હોય, ક્રિસમસ વખતે સાન્તાક્લોઝ બનવું, ધેટ્સ માય ફ્રેન્ડ રાજ. આપણામાંથી ઘણાને ખબર નહીં હોય કે તે આવી જ સેવા ફોસ્ટર વ્હીલરમાં પણ આપતા. કોઈની રિટાયરમેન્ટ પાર્ટીનું પ્લાનિંગ કરવું કે પછી લંચ અથવા ડિનર ઇવેન્ટનું કોઓર્ડિનેશન કરવું, એમના કોવર્કર કહેતા, રાજ, યુ આર ધ ફોસ્ટર વ્હીલર ક્રૂઝ ડિરેક્ટર. રજનીકાંત એક સારા સ્પોર્ટ્સમેન પણ હતા. રજનીકાંત ફોસ્ટર વ્હીલરની બોલિંગ અને ગોલ્ફ લીગમાં નિયમિત રીતે ભાગ લેતા અને બંને સ્પોર્ટ્સમાં એમને ઘણા એવોર્ડ મળેલ છે. પ્રેસિડેન્ટ ગોલ્ફિંગ એવોર્ડ પણ મળેલ છે. એ એક ડેડિકેટેડ અને ટેલેન્ટેડ એથ્લેટ હતા. હવે એક ખૂબ જ સારા સમાચાર છે. ઇઝ અ વેરી ગુડ ન્યૂઝ. રજનીકાંતને આપણે બહુમાન આપીએ છીએ ને, એના કરતાં પણ વધારે બહુમાન એની કંપની ફોસ્ટર વ્હીલરમાં એને મળેલું છે. તો બધા શાંતિથી સાંભળજો. ધ એન્યુઅલ ફોસ્ટર વ્હીલર ગોલ્ફ લીગ, આ નામ બદલીને રાજ ભાલોડિયા દેવ મોર મેમોરિયલ ટુર્નામેન્ટ નામ રાખવામાં આવ્યું છે. હવે અને તમને તો ખબર હશે કે ફોસ્ટર વ્હીલર એ ખૂબ જ મોટી કંપની છે. એની બ્રાન્ચ ચાઇના, ઇન્ડિયા, ઘણા દેશોમાં છે. તો આવી મોટી કંપનીમાં અવબહુમાન મેળવવું એ ગર્વની વાત છે. તો આનું અભિમાન ફક્ત ભાલોડિયા ફેમિલી જ નહીં, પરંતુ આપણી આખી કોમ્યુનિટીએ લેવા જેવું છે. રજનીકાંત એ ખૂબ જ સારા કુક પણ હતા અને હંમેશા દક્ષાબેનને ઘરકામમાં મદદ કરતા. અને મને બરાબર યાદ છે, ઘણીવાર એ કહેતા કે દરેકે પોતાની વાઈફને હેલ્પ કરવી જોઈએ. જોકે હું તો કરું છું. ઓકે, રજનીકાંતના એક મિત્ર દેવેન્દ્રભાઈ દવેની મારા ઉપર ઈમેલ આવેલી છે. ખૂબ જ ટૂંકી છે, પરંતુ રજનીકાંત વિશે ઘણું બધું કહી જાય છે. તો હું આપની સમક્ષ વાંચી સંભળાવું. Raj Bhalodia joined Foster Wheeler as soon as he arrived to the USA in 1978. He was always helpful to others, whether it was personal matter or official business, with his smiling face. To enhance his hobby of helping others, he later became a shop steward for Engineer Union at Foster Wheeler. In this position, he can help the fellow engineer if they have problems with getting along with their supervisors, promotions, and so many other problems. I know this because since he joined Foster Wheeler, we were in the same cubicle unit until 2008. When I retired, he was a very practical man. He used to say, don't make any decision by heart. Instead, use the mind and arrive at the decision in which nobody gets hurt and does not create ill feelings. Do it with smiling face. I really miss him. At the same time, he was an avid sportsman. He would excel in any sports which he decided to play, like bowling and golf. He was among the top 10% in both these games and had received trophies in both games playing in Foster Wheeler League. He was so dedicated to these games that he would go alone and practice if no playing partners are available. Most of all, I miss his instant cracking of jokes from past and current events, sometimes even on himself, and making everybody laugh. For example, once he wore two different kind of socks to the office. I pointed that out to him. Raj said, "You know what? I have same pair at home too." આ જોક્સની વાત આવે ને.
Thank you, Narendra Bhai. Thank you. So Narendra Bhai has given us a very nice, presentation about who Rajnikant Bhai was. Let's hear something similar, but in a different facet of his life, which is public service, leadership, etc. So I'm going to invite Hari Bhai Dalsania, our former president of PCA of USA. Hari Bhai has been also very active and instrumental in putting together the PCA of USA in the early days, and so he has worked with Rajnikant Bhai. So I thought it would be very appropriate to ask Hari Bhai to tell us a few things about how the leadership goes.
નવા વર્ષના જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ બધાને. I am going to say few words about Rajnibhai and his contribution to our community and this association. Like Jayant said, Rajnibhai was a pioneer and founder of this organization. The roots of PCA were planted about 22 years ago in 1987 under the leadership of Rajnikant Bhalodia. Rajnikant invited few friends and families to celebrate Diwali in a rented hall, and he did that for a couple of years in a row. After about 2 years, in 1989, it led to the formation of a non-profit organization called Patidar Cultural Association of USA, or PCA of USA. Rajnibhai was the major player in naming this organization and creating its first bylaws. Rajnibhai's house was the first official address of the PCA, and most of the PCA meetings were held at his home in the beginning years. Rajnibhai was always available to help his family, friends, and community members. His family, relatives, all the friends, and community members will miss him. I have been missing his company and his help in reading the greens on the golf course already. Most of all, the Dakshaben, Jay, Jasmine, and Roshni will miss him the most. We pray to the God to give them enough strength to deal with his loss. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you.
We are going to read the proclamation.
Patidar Cultural Association of USA proclamation in memory of late Sri Rajnikant Bhalodia.
Shri Rajnikant Bhalodia passed away on September 12, 2009, leaving family and friends and a legacy of community service that will never be forgotten.
Sri Rajnikant Bhalodia was born in 1950 in municipality of Moti Panali and moved to USA in 1978 as a civil engineer and
Sri Rajnikant Bhalodia was a founding father of PCA of USA, and he served as a board of trustees and whereas Sri Rajnikant Bhalodia's dedication to the community and his expertise as a community leader was an asset to Karwa Patel community at large, and
whereas in 1995, Sri Rajnikant Bhalodia was honored and awarded at annual Diwali event for his lifelong service to the community, and
whereas this association wishes to honor the memory of Sri Rajnikant Bhalodia and the way in which he cared for his community through his many contributions of time, talent, and energy, and a true community service. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Executive Committee members of the Patidar Cultural Association of USA as follows, that this board does hereby honor the memory of Sri Rajnikant Bhalodia for his extraordinary contributions to the Kadwa Patel community as an outstanding leader who truly loved his community, and that this proclamation be presented to the family of Sri Rajnikant Bhalodia on this 24th October of 2009. I'm going to ask now the three Board of Trustees that are here today to present this proclamation to the family. Haribai.
I just wanted to say a few words of thanks. I should really start by saying that I believe my father is here with us tonight, and he's very upset with us all, especially for these proceedings. He's upset because he's just sitting there thinking, why is everyone making this big deal over me? He's a man of modest upbringings, and his humility knows no bounds. First, I wanted to say thank you to Narendra Uncle, and Hari Uncle, and Jayant Uncle for saying such wonderful things about my father. I also wanted to thank the Executive Committee and the Board of Trustees for such an incredible honor, taking this time to remember your colleague and your friend. Jayant Uncle specifically requested that my family say some words about Rajni Bhai that would provide insight to him as a person, to the community at large. And as I thought through all the things that I could say, I realized that there's very little to say about him or about us that he hasn't already shared with you. However, during trying times, you hear some new stories, and I wanted to share one that I thought was appropriate for today. The story is when my father became an American citizen. Now, some of you might remember this story or hearing the story during the services. That's not this story. That was the story that Justman and I had. What I'd like to tell you is the story his way, the way that I recently heard it just this week from my mom. Becoming an American citizen, it might be trying for us all. There's a lot to know, a lot of tests to pass, and it was trying for him as well. Not because of the same reasons necessarily. My father is a very loyal and remembering my father, we asked everyone to live as he did. Look at all the people here. We have all the reason in the world to be strong and to continue his legacy. And I just want to say thank you to the community. You're all my friends, you're all my family, and you're my reason to be strong. Thank you.
And the last comment before we end our tribute today is the real tribute to Rajnikant Bhai would be to continue his legacy by volunteering. If it wasn't for his volunteerism, we wouldn't be here today as a Samaj. So let's take a lesson from this, that wherever we are, in whatever capacity we can, we should always volunteer for not only just our community, but community at large. And that will be really a true tribute to Rajnikant Bhai. And in that regard, we have decided as a community that beginning next year, we want to recognize there are many unsung heroes in the community who contribute to the community at large in various ways. So we want to set up an ongoing award so that we'll cherish the memories of Rajnikant Bhai by cherishing the volunteer work people do. And hopefully in the near future, we will set up the criteria, eligibilities and whatnot, and we'll come up in your mailings. So beginning next year, we would like to see many more nominations for a community service, leadership, volunteering, so that we can really keep his legacy alive. Thank you for your attention.